In Super Mario Galaxy 2, when you start the game, you start off in a side-scrolling environment. However, this area is very interesting if you change your perspective. There's a lot of neat things to highlight. And what makes it interesting is that I think Peach has two different castles. Let's take a closer look. Hey everyone, and welcome to Super Mario Galaxy 2. And today we're going to be focusing on the starting area. But before we begin, I actually want to talk about something. At the end of the video, there's going to be a couple different things I'm going to highlight. Currently, this channel hit the milestone for enabling monetization. Unfortunately, there's a couple hiccups that came up that's going to set the channel back a little bit. For those who want to support the channel and kind of hear the greater reason why, I'll get to that at the end of the video. But for now, we're going to focus on the starting area, Peach's castle. And you know, this area right here is very linear, I suppose. It's like a typical Mario game. You go left and right. It's a little bit of a tutorial. You get the spin ability. However, as we can see in the background right here is Peach's castle. But when we go at a different angle, things get a little odd. So we're gonna go ahead and fly up here because there's like these walls you can't get past unless you go up high enough. So there's this entire area down here, which is very interesting. So now we're actually in the background of this area. Obviously you're not supposed to be back here. You're supposed to be just moving left and right. I just fell to my death. It looks like there's a limited amount of walkable flooring, which prior to starting this video, I actually did not notice this before. Because I've explored this before, but I did not know you could actually walk back here. So it looks like there's just a flat plane that Mario walks on, and then it disappears very quickly. But the reason how I knew I could walk on that was just because you cast shadows on things that you can walk on. Mario had a shadow right then, so I was able to. So we're gonna fly back here to this castle, kind of just show you a closer look, because this can be seen in the distance of the level, but it's weird because technically there's that castle, and if we look all the way over there, there's another castle. So this whole beginning area is split up into three sequences where you have the intro area, the area you find Luma, and then the final area where you encounter Bowser. So we're gonna fly back here to the castle. None of this is walkable, I believe. I think I'll just go right through it. Yep. But let's take a look at this castle, because it's very interesting. Because if you look around the castle, you see this path leading up to it. You see these gates, and it's up on a hill, but there's no water. And the reason why I'm bringing that up is in a little bit we're going to see the other castle, and that plays kind of an interesting role because it's almost as if these are two separate castles. They look the same, but they are not the same in terms of their surrounding areas. So now we're gonna fly off into space. I'm gonna speed this up, probably cut to once I get over here, because these areas are so far apart that without triggering the normal teleportation, it takes a good 2-3 minutes to fly from each place. So I'm just gonna sit here idly while that happens. All right, so now we're flying into the second area, and as you can see, it's kind of interesting from this angle. All the toads aren't actually on the path that you're supposed to be on. They're actually behind the path, so that when Mario walks by, and I'm getting sucked into this area. There's like an invisible force pulling me. See if we can get back out of here. Okay, so now we're back out. I'm gonna stay away from the edge of that area because if I get too close to it, it will suck me in, but it's also going to trigger a cutscene. But as you can see here, this is the gate we walk through, typically, that's gonna teleport us all the way over here. And it's interesting to me that these areas are so far apart, because technically you actually can't see them out of your peripheral vision, and you can't look around when you're in that 2D plane. So perhaps they added them so that when we're exploring this area, up here, where the ending cutscene takes place, so you wouldn't be able to see them in the distance. Because technically right now we're operating with two castles that are completely separate. So once again, it's gonna be a couple minutes before I get there. The last cut I did was probably about 2 minutes ago, and I probably still got another minute and a half to go. But I will cut once I get there. So if I remember correctly, the closer we get to this, there's actually going to be the big purple black hole that's gonna load. I can't remember if it loads initially or if it's a trigger. We'll find out here in a second. And there it goes, it just magically appeared. This big purple vortex. And when you fly inside this, it's kind of weird because it's all stretchy and it's hard to tell which direction you're going in. Like, I think I'm already in it. Look how like warped it is when I'm just spinning around. It's very trippy. So we're actually gonna fly down to the castle. And what's interesting is chaos is going on. But because we came in from the back entrance, I guess you want to call that an entrance, nothing has actually transpired yet. Once we go up here, it's actually gonna trigger a cutscene. So we're gonna go ahead and trigger the ending cutscene right here. So the Lumas are normally reacting to Bowser, who's supposed to have appeared already and taken Princess Peach. But because we skipped that, obviously there's nothing to react to. The music is still calming. It's not the chaotic theme. They're gonna go ahead and turn to, you know, the Warp Star thing. But this is going to actually change what's gonna happen when I trigger the Bowser event now. Because technically, by this point, Bowser should have unloaded from the level because he already went off into the galaxy. And I'm, you know, the camera's fixed, but if we go into our fly mode, we can actually get out of here. Okay, so now we're up and over the wall, the invisible walls. So, but take a look at this real fast before we trigger the Bowser event. See how there's a moat? See how there's not a path leading straight up to the castle? See how there's a town and stuff in front of the castle over there? None of this stuff was in front of the castle at the beginning of the level. So it's almost as if this is a different castle altogether. Which is interesting because I just put out a video on my main Swanky Box channel about, you know, why Princess Peach's castle in Odyssey was different than Super Mario 64. But this kind of adds another level to it because maybe there is more than one castle because these look completely different. Okay, so let's go ahead and trigger that Bowser event now, which is happening in this moment. So normally you're supposed to be seeing a very large Bowser, but because Bowser was already unloaded and the sequence of events has changed, now there's no Bowser. Plus the camera's way off. So we're gonna take the camera back and show you real fast. The camera's like positioned from beneath the ground. It's almost as if it locks onto Bowser to, I guess, track where it's pointing. Also, let's take a look at Mario, because Mario's weird as well. Mario automatically gets stuck floating here, just randomly standing. I'm not sure why, but this whole cutscene plays out completely differently because there's no objects in it. Then you have Peach, who randomly just screams from the void. Forgot how much he talks. And now he jumps up into his black hole thing he created. And now the sky is magically clear for like a second. I'm not sure if it spawns back. Oh, actually, I just remembered something. These things we're looking at right here, I'm gonna go back to them in a second. So pay attention to these, because I'm gonna show you what they look like very far away. Because of this area, these are the only things that are loaded when you first start the map. So if we go back this way, all these objects are gonna fall from the sky. They're normally supposed to fall when we're coming in. But now everything's backwards. And I can't actually get back through here. This is where you come out from that second area. So now I'm gonna jump back to the beginning of the level to show you those rocks I just showed you. They're the only thing that's loaded at this point. Okay, so now we're at the beginning of the level, and you know the star bits are raining down. This is where we start off. But if we look way off into the distance, if I can find them. Aha! See those things right there? This is where those rocks are at. So you have all these smoking rocks, but the town itself is unloaded, so that I guess for some reason these things they had loaded all the time, but eventually as you move on, these other places will load. And I think actually if we would change our perspective here, the map will load itself. But yeah, that's just something I want to show you. The whole 2 castles is very interesting to me, just because they have completely different surrounding areas. They have different terrain that leads up to them, which I just found really weird, especially since I mentioned I just put out a video about Peach's Castle on the main channel. But anyways, I hope you enjoyed this look at the beginning area of Super Mario Galaxy. But now I have sort of a quarrel to address. So with this channel in particular, I recently hit the threshold for monetization, which is great because now this channel can start earning money. And I recently just brought in my friend Stogie, who's gonna be helping with editing and stuff like that. Now the problem is this. I was told there was gonna be a really long delay. So even though my channel hit the threshold technically back in January, I didn't get any updates, and they rolled out the new rules, so I actually had to then hit the second threshold. And I just got that probably a week ago, and I was told it's probably gonna be about 3 or 4 weeks before that rolls in. And that was through Twitter and through talking to someone I knew, people who were in the industry. And then I found out just today on Twitter, they're pushing it back to now 8+ weeks. So that's really bothersome because that's like end of April. And they say they hope that it will be in 8+ weeks. And so that means like by the time end of April rolls around, they could push it back further. So if you want to support the channel, I would really appreciate it. There's a couple of different ways you can do it. And I want you guys to get some cool things in return. So obviously I just came out with a book. The book basically tells you everything you need to know about YouTube. It runs you about 20 bucks on Amazon, maybe a little bit cheaper because they constantly have sales and stuff like that. Obviously, that would be awesome if you picked it up. More so also for yourselves. If you guys are interested in doing YouTube, if you're interested in doing things that like I do, pick up the book. Definitely give that dream a whirl. But anyways, thank you so much for your continued support. This channel has started blowing up, and that's fantastic because I have so many cool ideas that I can't wait to share. So many new challenges, so many new experiences in games. I mean, I have a list of about 80 or 90 ideas that I still need to go through. So I hope you enjoy them all. So once again, thank you for your continued support, and I'll see all of you in the next video. Cheers, everyone. Hey, if you want to support the channel, there's some links in the description and probably pinned in the comment below. But also, just your viewership is amazing as well. So if you like these videos, share them around because I really appreciate it and it helps the channel grow. Thank you, and I'll see you next time.